Welcome, everybody, friends, folks, foes, and fellow pirate mateys, to the premiere edition of this year's Operation Secret Santa 2025. My name, as always, of course, is Jaffe Ryder, your trusted host and companion to these often all too intrepid digital airwaves. WPRPN.com is a website we will direct your attention to. Sign up is free. Be sure as well to check out the show description end of things. Take a look at the various links we have in place. And let us know if you have any questions, of course. Pirate One Radio at protonmail.com is our main email address. If you have any questions, insight, advice, or ways this particular point in time, of course, within the context of the campaign itself, to help promote and boost things along. So we are not exactly, to be quite honest, getting things off on the best footing this particular moment. YouTube has, once again, true to form. It's amazing, what do they say? One time is a coincidence, twice a mistake. Three times you really got to start to wonder. Similarly with Facebook, just as we were going live, you're putting up our last link to a group that is just one example of the many that either they've tried to or have effectively succeeded in taking offline. We were just adding one single item, and whether it's the algorithms or what, I couldn't tell you, but we've been forced now to submit an appeal, which has been done in the past, starting with just them asking that we prove that we're human. It's one of those silly CAPTCHA type tests. So, and then they want facial recognition. I'm not sure if that worked out the way it was supposed to or not. But if things don't succeed this go round, it sounds like they're just going to delete our entire Facebook account, if you can believe that. And for what exactly, I couldn't tell you, and they're not going to say anything either. To be quite honest, for anyone who pays attention to these things, it's all really quite diabolical, frankly. And about the most diametrically, uh, it couldn't be any more contrary to net neutrality that we sometimes hear. The powers that be within the Silicon Valley culture and so forth paying lip service to. It could not be any further from that whatsoever, unfortunately. Um, and we're not the only ones who are treated this way or targeted in this fashion, obviously, but real shame when you stop to consider, especially now, what it is that we're uh, working on promoting here. This epic annual 10-day Christmas charity outreach and relief campaign. So, just right from the top, a few things that we should get clear, of course, is that, uh, and by the way, so we're left with D Live, and if I can queue up, bear with us here. If we can queue up Telegram, we'll have that available too. You can find that in the link. So, D Live and Telegram. That's it, folks. Those are the only ways that you can actually connect with us in real time. YouTube shut down for the next week. We might be able to get, maybe the last few days of the campaign um, somehow to the point where we can have people join us in real live time, while Facebook, of course, who knows how it's. I'm not feeling all that optimistic, and it's just utterly surreal the way they go about doing this sort of underhanded business, frankly, in deplatforming people. So there's not too many good things a person can say about it. But D Live and Telegram. So let's see if we can work on getting that queued up, and then take a look around and see if anyone's actually managed to connect with us here in real live time. We're going to try to continue this stream, maybe for around 90 minutes or so, largely a stream of consciousness. We do have a few talking points, items we'd like to get to, which hopefully people will find of some interest. But right off the top, of course, this is nothing like Secret Santa in the West. That's something that, as we've over the past number of years worked to better perfect and purify our magical Christmas elixir, have been working to convey and to get across to listeners. Keep that in mind. This is nothing like the conventional Secret Santa office-based gift exchange, ritual that people so often engage in. Rather, what we encourage people to do is to selectively sponsor, play the role of the Secret Santa sponsor. Look around in your community or ask us who it is that we're supporting and that we're backing this year with the limited resources we have at our disposal here. Unfortunately, if it was more the case that we had um, greater wealth and riches, obviously we would do more with that. But as it stands, we're left with merely the pirate's might, as came up last year, I believe, uh, around maybe the mid part of last year's campaign, reminiscent of, as the Bible talks about, the widow's mite, if people are so inclined in looking that one up. So, speaking of the Bible and the whole religious, uh, Christ, birth of Christ angle and whatnot, that's all fine and dandy if one embraces and subscribes to those particular beliefs. Meanwhile, if one is more of a secular type leaning, you're more than welcome to be part of this, or just Rudolph, Santa, you name it. If you enjoy the Christmas season for whatever reason, Christmas carols, and it is the whole one of the things that we do challenge people to remember, of course, is it is the one time of the year that we can perhaps stop being so selfish, uh, because that's how we are as humans, are we not? Even those who often live in abundance and luxury for some peculiar reason. Not sure why that is. I guess I just haven't spent enough time thinking about it, reflecting upon things. Uh, but yeah, with whatever you find is within your means, by we're challenging you to to reach out, and either from a monetary standpoint, food, clothing, medicine, any household items or appliances that people, miscellaneous goods people may be in need of, and part time work as well. Let's not forget. So, if someone has a certain skill set and they find themselves currently unemployed, we can help get them to work if we can help make the right connections. It really is that simple. Uh, whether done via their immediate vicinity, or a direct boots on the ground basis, living in the same community, or via the interwebs in a more virtual sense and approach. So, but once again, a lot of moving parts. This is not UNICEF either, by the way, in case people perhaps were wondering. UNICEF, Red Cross, Salvation Army, these heavily, top heavy, overly bloated on the surface of things, at least do gooder bureaucracies. Something like only, I guess, 10 cents on the dollar, folks. Can you believe it? 10 cents. A single dime out of a whole dollar actually is said to typically find its way to the people that it's intended. Uh, so we that's our revolutionary, essentially innovative, highly innovative approach for format, formula, and way of doing things here. It really, I guess, maybe in that sense, there's good reason why the powers that be might possibly be wanting to shut us down. And live streamers out there who join in, uh, sharing, coming on board, working in an affiliate manner, putting live streams out on their own. Of course, we've had, I know it was, well, Roger Hansen. Hopefully, we'll be hearing from here at some point along the way. Although he's, for listeners of the show, will probably by now be aware he recently lost his mother, and it's clearly it's a tough time in his life, a period of great transition as we see this homelessness meme pop up on the screen. Uh, Alan Mosdale out of Australia, of course. Roger himself via West Frankfort, Illinois. But both of them, for the sounds of it, have pledged their support. So looking forward to them coming on board in an affiliate type manner. They'll be putting their live streams out, um, hopefully at different times than what we're doing here. That's the whole point, is we'd like to keep the campaign running for the entirety, not exactly 12 days. Although as of last year, we did extend things into the Boxing Day period, after having gone back and seen that, even though we don't live stream, but encouraging people to get out and to form, engage within their community, donning elf caps and going from door to door, as was traditionally the case uh, during the Boxing Day period. It was what was historically known, I guess, as St. Stephen's Feast, essentially asking people of means if they have any maybe non perishable food, clothing items, or unwanted gifts, things that, or work, employment, once again, you know, that others could make some use of, other families, and people of lesser means. Of course, that's what this whole campaign is about. We encourage people to think outside the box and to embrace a very ad hoc, can do type spirit approach and attitude. So, uh, let's do what we can here to make the Christmas magic happen. Now, we've pledged for the time being, and we got to check back on this young lady because, I mean, however you look at it, highly heroic, these journalists in Gaza, as far as works circumcised, highly, highly heroic. And I mean, how much courageous can a person actually be than putting their lives out on the line like that when you have this psychopath Netanyahu and his extreme Likud coalition acting in the completely unchecked, unhinged manner that they have been over the past number of years, all in the wake, of course, of the whole October 7th false flag inside job and psyop. There's even a lot of Israelis who take that position. So hey, good for them. And there's good reason to believe that was the case. But keeping the politics aside for the time being, um, we salute their courage. The frontline medical workers, unarmed, unarmored, no means of protecting themselves whatsoever. And just to think the number of the hospitals, how many mosques exactly, churches in Gaza, yes, um, presumably Christians to go along with that, of course, and schools, just utterly mind-boggling. So, and to think that he and his cohorts will not in any way be held accountable, I simply cannot believe will be the case. So he does have health problems as well too. Let's not forget, not just mental either, but physical, from the sounds of things. So they deserve a lot of credit. The frontline medical workers and journalists who have been targeted relentlessly, just murdered, cold blood. Um, all too many, unfortunately. So we have sponsored and earmarked $100, pledging our support. We got to double back and check on this young lady to ensure that she herself is a blue check mark type individual. Obviously, you need the blue check mark, or God only knows who could potentially be lurking behind the facade. So I guess we could head over there right now. There's a lot more that we could do as well. The multitasking. See a handful of folks showing up on D Live. So let's have your comments, people. Have at it. Let us know what's on your mind. Thoughts, questions, comments, criticisms. Any suggestions, of course, what you would do if you were launching a similar type campaign, one which took on a more innovative and, dare I say, progressive approach, not perhaps in the way that some people might consider that all too reactionary term. But yeah, we could be doing a better job. That's something that we've discovered over the years, realized that with the whole Secret Santa branding and just the usage, the framework that with the way that people conventionally practice their in-house office gift exchange business, that we could expand upon that. And that's what we've been doing over the past 10 plus years now. So encouraging everyone out there listening to share the links, check out the URLs, of course, and help to spread the Christmas, the positive energy, the uplifting spirits that so many people need, of course, this time of year in particular. It's really quite trying, very, very taxing on so many people. We got shut down over on YouTube recently for alleged medical misinformation, air quotes now, people. They won't tell us what that is, of course. They no timestamp, no nothing, just what they claim to be medical misinformation. Even though we did, at various points, issue a disclaimer that we are not here in any way to provide legal, medical, or financial advice, and fully, encourage people to seek out the properly credentialed professionals in your community to help resolve whatever outstanding issues you may be, facing or otherwise up against. Of course, and take everything that we have to offer here with a grain of salt. But, is there something wrong in saying that we should maybe seek out second or third opinions? Hopefully not. And ultimately, or for that matter, that ultimately the discretion and decision ought to be left in our own hands, having weighed the pros and cons, the benefits and the downside to whatever happens to be, on the table at any particular time. So, this dictatorship of the professional elite, clearly something that we need to be wary of, I would argue. As if we're not capable of making our own, ultimately, after once again hearing all sides of the argument, decisions that best suit our needs and serve our interests. So, maybe it was this the snake, the caduceus, I guess is known. Yes, the World Health Organization. Fall into line and follow everything they say, or else. Hashtag snake venom. So, I wonder if we can get a little Christmas music queued up here. That'd be kind of nice. We were once again scrambling and to get things off and running here in the first place. Got a little something here regarding Nicholas of Myra, aka Saint Nicholas, that perhaps we can offer you here momentarily. So at least within a few minutes, but stand by for that, of course. And we'll do our best to see that's properly taken care of. And yes, as always, it would be great if we had ourselves our own in-house technical producer, but that's just not the case at present. We're not Tim Pool, Joe Rogan, Alex Jones, any of these high-rolling, largely pro-Zionist big shots where they get their money from. Anyways, so many of them. It does make you wonder. So, but that aside, Stephen Crowder, and, thank God for the likes of Candace Owens and others, but trying once again to keep the focus on Christmas and Christmas alone. We've within the context of what's been happening over the past number of years in Gaza, just the horrific, the bloodshed and the carnage. All we can really offer is an on-air reminder that the humanity. IDF soldiers, I guess, from the sounds of things, unaliving themselves in record numbers, either at their own hand or someone else taking care of business and then having it look like it was an unaliving, if you are able to see where we're coming from on that one. But once again, a lot of moving parts here, and pretty unfortunate we've had to face this initial setback, but there's no way we're going to let it, even if we are deplatformed, which we at this point almost fully expect. As far as Facebook is concerned, it's utterly just insane. The slightest infraction, I mean, come on. And having, first of all, just boom, prove you're human by typing in what numbers you see on your screen, and then secondly, share like a facial recognition video of yourself. So it looks like we might be shifting our priorities a little bit here as far as social media is concerned. We've been blocked for now several years as far as Gab is concerned, if you can believe that. Unable to access Gab. Our accounts are still there. I guess it's the ISP number that's the problem. So Cloudflare is the problem as well too. And when it comes to Cloudflare, that maybe a few of you have heard of, it's to me, it could be wrong, but it just seems to be a pretty flagrant and obvious NSA type, probably Mossad cutout. Let's be honest. Where do they get the money and the resources to put these highly sophisticated networks and not only surveillance, but once again, anti-net neutrality platforms together? It seems like they cannot do anything. They could hardly do anything more to be any further non-net neutral than what they're. Well, it could always get worse. That is true, and it could as well too. So the point of not even bothering with the internet anymore. I myself do not have a spy phone. Simply refuse to. Why? So the wife has one, and we work with that where need be, but my way of looking at it is it's a form of enlightenment, in the sense of lightening the load, walking the bird's path in the Zen tradition, no longer as burdened or weighed down as you once were. It sounds like we got someone dropping in here as well too via momentarily. Oh, Robert Morningstar. Did we call you up? Robert, how are you? Merry Christmas.
No, I just called you up to say Merry Christmas and hope your program's going well. It's been a long day, but beautiful day in New York. It snowed. We got about 2 inches, and it's very beautiful.
Oh.
So just wanted to say hi and hope you guys are all doing all right.
You haven't heard, you didn't hear anything as far as the intro was concerned, I guess. Is that right?
No, I didn't. I didn't hear from you.
Yeah.
So I just checked in to see what you were doing.
Well, yeah, we would have called you, but I think we saw your status was not, you didn't have the green light kind of status in place. So
I've had to do a lot of cleaning up of the computer, so it turned off the Teams, and But anyway, I'm here now, and so I can just spend a few minutes with you guys if you'd like.
Okay. Stand by. This might, I'm going to connect here with screen share, so this might, as it typically likes to do, have things go all wonky for a moment or two, so just bear with us. We've got, yeah, oh, there we go. I don't know if it entirely crashed or what, but the music, we lost the music. Did it just freeze? Oh my God, it did. How about that? So, you still there, Robert?
Yeah, I'm still here.
Oh, no biggie.
Why don't you call me up? Because I can't see my camera.
No, you should be able to. Right now, we're sharing now. Hang on a second. I'm going to put myself on camera here momentarily, so you should wait. Okay, there we go. There we go. Yeah, you can see me. You should be able. I can see you now too.
No, you just have the plain black screen.
I can see you. You're coming through. You're good to go. You're fine on our end. So, yeah. If you well, I don't know if you want to bring your. Is there any way of adjusting your camera? You can just bring it down slightly. Is that possible or not?
I think so. A little bit. I don't know.
Looks like the Empire State Building there in the background.
Oh yeah, that's my standard Teams picture. Yes, it's New York City.
Mm-hmm.
In the Empire State Building.
There we go.
The Hudson River on the right.
Yeah, there you look,
to see it. Sometimes
you look great there. That's a great shot. What is this? What sweater you're wearing? I like. There's a shirt and a sweater.
Oh yeah.
Right on. Right on. You can see I'm bundled up here too via South Korea. Working on a little hot toddy on the side.
I can't believe the thermometer says 14 degrees in my kitchen. I have an indoor-outdoor thermometer. It says 14 degrees. But it doesn't feel like it. We have very good steam right now. I'm happy about that.
So, okay, so we don't know how long you're going to be here today, nor if you'll be back over the course of the next 10 days. Hopefully, we'll play it by ear. But thank you for the Christmas wishes. And as far as the campaign goes, is there anything in New York that you can talk to us about as far as Christmas celebrations or activities that are taking place, or people like?
Well, the biggest thing, of course, is the tree in Rockefeller Center, which is a Christmas tree, unlike Portland, Oregon, where it's just the tree.
The tree.
No, we're celebrating Christmas. I just got a felicitations call. Hanukkah. Today is Hanukkah, the first day of Hanukkah. So Jewish people are enjoying that. And you know, Hanukkah, in my experience, from my youth, there's been a sort of shift of Christianity by osmosis to the Jewish community. Because when I was a kid, the age of 10 through 15, when I was in high school, I had jobs. I worked as a delivery boy at one time for a dry cleaners, and then I got a 5-year apprenticeship in an electronics shop. So I got to visit apartments. We used to have to go and pick up televisions, and I would have to go pick up a radio or a small TV that needed fixing. And I also spent a lot of time on the roofs here installing cable from rooftop antennas to apartments. Some of these buildings are 300 feet tall, and I would be hanging off the side of the building, swinging the cable to the technician who was in the house trying to connect it. Yeah, imagine rolling out 300 feet of cable from a rooftop to an apartment and having to hit a broomstick. But anyway, I did get to go to all of these buildings and different households, Protestant, Catholics, and Jewish. And in the 1950s and 60s, this period of time was a very gloomy and very sad time of year. Hanukkah was not the Hanukkah that is practiced today, which is cheerful, full of light, gift giving. And so I saw over the 1950s, 60s into the 70s and 80s, there was a slow osmotic transmission. That's why I call it Christmas by osmosis that shifted over into Jewish community, and they started celebrating the menorah like we celebrated the Christmas tree.
Right.
But it was a very, very sad affair. The menorah also goes back to the time when the Maccabees were rebelling and having wars and whatnot. So it's all about that miracle of the oil that should have lasted only one day, supposedly lasted 8 days. But there was a transmission of feelings, emotions, and it was very beneficial. I think New York, Christians and Jews live very, very peacefully here. There's no antagonism. There's no hostility, you know?
Yeah.
We love our neighbors as ourselves.
Sure.
And so I'm very sad to see what's happening around the world with anti-Semitism, which should rightly be called anti-Zionism. The Zionists hijacked the Jewish identity, and they've exploited those people for 80 years, but they're waking up, and there has to be a distinction made between Zionists and Jews. They are not the same.
Yeah, and that's somebody is profiting, benefiting from the confusion. It's like the devil loves division. I don't know if I got that right or not. I sang about that in a song I wrote called "Love's the Only Weapon."
Yeah.
That I'd like to re-record.
I also have some sad news. You know, the shooting in Australia is one thing, but I don't think you've heard. You probably haven't heard that Rob Reiner and his wife have been murdered in California
by their son.
I don't think I didn't hear anything about his son being involved.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
My sister. You know, I thought family affair. My first thought was, I hope this is not another Manson gang getting, going loose.
Yeah. Well, we'll see, I guess. And even with that shooting, did you not pick up on? I did right away. And the name of the beach.
I didn't get many details about it. Bondi Beach. Oh boy. Yeah.
What's the name?
I understand it was a Muslim, right?
I really don't know. I have not looked into it at all. I just saw it just bleep.
That's detail. I just received that they've captured a Muslim.
Did they is he alive?
They captured him, is what I heard.
Hopefully they got him alive. Is this one shooter? That's it?
That's what I heard.
Okay.
I haven't got many details. This is just breaking news for me. It's Rob Reiner's demise. It's shocking.
Well,
Rob Reiner.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, good life. It's tragic and sad, but it's from the Buddhist sense.
Something odd.
Karma.
There's another knife killing that happened in California, in Santa Monica. A pastor was stabbed to death as well. So California is going crazy. There's something wrong.
Yeah.
Definitely wrong with that state. It's terrible.
Yeah. Well, it's here. It's here too, Robert. As far as I was talking with a student about this today. It's within all of us, and the religion, and taken to the extreme, it can be so toxic. Obviously, the emotions that it stirs up, and we're all possessed. People ask, is possessed by devils? Was he possessed by a demon? Well, guess what? How about default position, folks? We're all possessed by a devil or demon. It's the classic Greek term eudaimonia, the good demon within. What did it mean? It meant happiness. Happiness. Mm-hmm. And if you don't take care of that devil, demon, spirit within, keep it in its place and sanitize. Keep your room clean. Keep your room clean. That's where the word, I guess, saint comes from, right? You've cleaned out and swept out what's the inner environment. There's going to be problems. That's why, we've talked about, we need protect the mind and be very wary and not allowing our consciousness to be hijacked. So
protect the mind is a very good axiom, really, because that's what people need to do Mind is being invaded and attacked from every direction, especially iPhones and commercial television, and now
Oh
AI.
God.
AI is going crazy. I
Have you?
can't stand a search for art. I can't find any art that isn't AI anymore.
Oh no.
And,
Oh, Bob.
you know, it's
Yeah,
really
and for me it's like pass AI, pass, no, no. And here's the thing, YouTube, it's probably more complicated and sophisticated, more multifaceted than this, but they don't how much I think they save a lot by working with AI rather than real human content
that's the
producers,
whole point. Yeah, that's
you
the
know.
point.
Yeah. So,
But not just the producers, they're turning AI. They're turning AI into the manager of companies, and I have found that AI is manipulating finances. It's using trickery and deception on people, and people have to be careful. And why should you believe AI? You know, for a human being.
it's
You know?
science. It's science. It's God, you know. It's like, yes,
Ah,
it's
it's
God.
not. It's not
Well,
God.
but that's, so
That's what they want you
yeah.
to believe. They want you to believe that God is this big machine that
Yeah.
runs the universe, but
Mm.
that's not.
I guess it'd be
Not.
more the archons, product of the archons, perhaps.
Yeah, I believe that. I believe that they are archons, and they've found a way of insinuating themselves once again into our reality.
Yeah.
You know,
How's
archons are disincarnate entities like Nephilim. Nephilim are the spirits of the giants that died, right? So,
huh? What? Run it by me. Run it by us again. That the Nephilim, the disincarnate spirits of the Nephilim, those are the archons,
archons are disincarnate. They're not carnal beings. They are interdimensional beings
right?
that go by a lot of different names. Uh, demons, jinns, shapeshifters. All of those are appellations that are given to try to describe these creatures. The way I understand the archon theory is that, according to the Gnostics, that when Sophia created life, she projected life into this region of space. But she didn't know that one of the consequences was the creation of what I would call anti-life. So the archons, you can think about them as anti-life.
Mm-hmm.
They are a leftover of the creation that Sophia did not expect to happen. It was unanticipated. She wanted to create life, but every action has an equal and opposite reaction. And so the archons were engendered at the same time. And there's been an ongoing battle between humans and archons since time immemorial. Have you ever read from the Nag Hammadi library?
Mm-hmm. The
You know, the
Gnostics, yes.
yeah, the hypostasis of the archons, or the apocryphon of Saint John.
Mm-hmm.
Found. They're so profound, they're almost magical. I've done readings, and this is 25 years or more ago, 30 years ago. I was doing a reading of the Nag Hammadi literature, and two people passed out. One just fell off a chair and hit the floor head first, and the other one, after we resuscitated the person that fell on the floor and sat her back up, I continued the reading, and this other fellow, a man, was sitting at the table. He went into tremors. His eyes rolled up into his head. He started shaking. We grabbed him before he fell off the chair. So it's really powerful stuff. The conscious mind is not ready to receive it, and I think that's what happened with these two people. What they were hearing could not be integrated into their worldview, and that's what people will do, in order to avoid something as unpleasant as that. They'll just faint away. It reminds me of the conjuration of the praying mantis aliens by the CIA. They had a protocol where they could invoke the mantis to appear, and James Jesus Angleton conducted this ceremony at Langley, and they had a lot of people in the room. But when the praying mantis manifested, James Jesus Angleton wrote, "When the bugs spoke, men in the back of the room passed out." And that's just the nature of supernature, right? We deal with what we call nature, but when you encounter supernature, your mind has to be prepared for a very long time to be able to deal with that and integrate it. I'm happy to say that I was prepared since my childhood for this kind of work. So what we're doing is mass psychology to treat a mass psychosis. And I'm reading right now, and I've been reading on my program, the book by John Lilly. It's called Programming and Metaprogramming of the Human Biocomputer. And the point he's making is that we are all who we are, our identities, our behaviors, our likes, our dislikes, our loves, our passions, our hatreds, they're all programmed. And unless you realize that you are a programmed individual, you are not free. And so the manual, Programming and Metaprogramming of the Human Biocomputer, involves analyzing yourself and reprogramming yourself, deleting the programs that have been imposed upon you, upon me, including your identity, your roles, and then you're able to conceive a new identity, a new person, who you really are or want to be. Mm-hmm. Because most people are just operating on an algorithmic function. They get up every day, do the same thing every day, take the same patterns, drive the same highways. When I studied with the Druids, this was one of the things that they emphasize, is breaking up patterning. And so I started to break up patterns. For example, driving in New York, I would always go up 92nd, to go downtown. I'd always go down Columbus Avenue and go down to a crosstown. So I just started changing that. I would go down a couple of blocks, make a left turn, make a right turn, and take variable routes to wherever I was going, just to change from the pattern. And the same applies to habits and pattern behavior in our everyday lives. Pattern reactions. If somebody says this, you're going to react like that, instead of really feeling what each moment brings. And each moment is unique, individual. It's never been another moment before like it, and there's never going to be another moment like it again. And yet people react in the same fashion to every living moment, right? Which is rote, which is conditioning. So we have to break our own conditioning. If you've ever read the Dune series, you know about imperial conditioning, which was what the empire did to subjects. They conditioning, and person could not be free of it until that conditioning was broken, usually by some trauma or some shock, right? So that's what happened to me, by the way, with 9/11. Look at my whole life, and everything that had happened to me was not chance. I ran into the 3 terrorists who did fly into the buildings, right? There were Muslims involved. They did fly airplanes, but of course the pre-planted explosives. But when I realized, holy mackerel, I ran into Mohammed Atta. I ran into Conjure, the guy who hit the Washington Pentagon. He was fueling my plane in 2001 over here at Caldwell Airport. And I looked back and said, damn, this isn't chance. How could any of this that's happened to me be by chance? And that's where I went back into my own conditioning, my own programming, and realized that throughout my life, I had been acting as an unconscious investigator, detective, that what I had been groomed for since I was in the Sea Cadets in the age of 8. to 15, I was in the Sea Cadets, and that's where this conditioning began, and ended off from one Navy guy in high school, one in college, and guided, doors open, inviting me in, like the Tai Chi master, Professor Cheng Man-ching. I was invited to become a Tai Chi master. I didn't ask, and I was told, they don't do that for anyone. And who was standing in the circle when I was invited? A man named Robert W. Smith, who was with the Office of Naval Intelligence during World War II. And he found out about the mystical aspects of Chinese martial arts. And so, acting as an agent of Office of Naval Intelligence to garner more and more knowledge and information about the paranormal skills that are developed through Tai Chi, Kung Fu, Qigong, that kind of thing. So,
well, how about just Asian? If you're familiar with shamatha, vipassana, of course, but I think shamatha is more like a calm, abide, where you just work on let thought comes up, let it go. The vipassana, I guess, is more integration. So you go deeper, you keep going deeper and deeper in the problem, I guess, at hand, the one issue that you're focused or point.
Yes.
It's just a rough shot description. But there's so many techniques.
Yeah, I know. I've studied a lot
laughter.
of Chinese.
Oh,
yeah. The meditation. I saw that done by a Chinese master. It was amazing. He just would start right hand up like this and his left hand down like that, and then he'd shake his hand and he'd go, ha. And you could see after a few seconds of it, these waves were coursing through his body, especially this electricity. And I have a friend named in New York. He plays zither and bells, and Tibetan bells, all kinds of things. But he stops his concert. He stops his concert to do a
Christmas Chaos, Breaking Loose here, Premier Edition with Robert Morningstar. Perhaps a call coming, via Montana, or who, God only knows where. We'll mute him out right now. Okay, we muted you, Robert. Sorry about that. We thought you might be on the phone to give you some privacy. Can you unmute yourself? Hopefully you're well seasoned at doing that. We just didn't, in case there's some private back and forth taking place there. We didn't want people to hear it. And let me say, we're actually just a quick video here. I don't know if you want to stick around for it or not, but Nicholas of Smyrna, St. Nicholas. We're going to play just a short 5 minutes.
Yeah.
We're going to play that because there's a lot. I was trying to talk with an adult Korean student this morning about Christmas and all its multifaceted, glorious, complex, the history and traditions, and that's really what we're here to discuss and celebrate, and to really emphasize that it's not just one thing or the other. It's the whole lot, frankly. It's all of it. And we're open to hearing everyone's stories, of course, relating to this time of the year. And we're going to continue on, not live streaming, but encourage people to head out into their communities with donning elf caps. There's not enough of this that's going on these days, but Boxing Day, traditionally, you may be aware, get rid of the little pop-up here. Oh boy. So that St. Stephen's, the Feast of St. Stephen's Day, and good King Wenceslas, the Boxing Day tradition, you probably know more about it than me because you saw it. I think it's really, is the word dissipated, not degraded, just it's gone by the wayside. There's not enough people practicing it, as far as I can tell, where you go out and you canvass your neighborhood and area, ideally with those elf hats, caps always help, of course, and just try to, reach out to people who maybe are of greater means, and see if they have any non-perishable foods, um, um, clothes, of course, or different like medical items that might be of some, just bandages, towels, you name it. A job opportunity, maybe get into some conversation with somebody, and it's like, yeah, I know someone that's looking for a job. Maybe they can help you out. And this other person happens to be either homeless or on the verge of, being thrown out, and this would be a real lifeline to them. So it's the Saint Stephen's Day and Boxing Day. What can you tell us about Boxing Day then? And because that took place after on the
Yeah,
26th, but
that's more of a Canadian tradition. It's not really United Statesian tradition, but I learned,
oh, no kidding. How about
yeah, I
that?
learned about it from my Canadian friends, and usually part of it was boxing gifts you've gotten that you weren't going to use, so you box
Right.
and give them to somebody. I had another friend who told me she
Right.
was living in Montreal at the time, and she heard about it. She was from America, New
Mm-hmm.
York, America, right? And was unfamiliar. So she dressed up and went from house to house
Right.
through the more affluent neighborhoods of Montreal,
Yeah.
experiencing that. But that's what my friends in British Columbia do. They
Mm-hmm.
they things and they collect things and then give them to charity. Well, we have a
Yeah.
lot of that here in New York.
Yeah.
It's not just Christmas time, but I think that people have forgotten that Christmas is really a celebration of life and a celebration of a person who walked the earth who changed human behavior more than any other person in history. And I dread to think of what world we would be living in if we had a world at all, if Christ had not lived, if Christ had not come and taught the golden rule and professed the the belief, the faith in a loving Father God rather than these wrathful deities and demons and Moloch and Baal, consuming children, which is still around. And sadly, it's coming to the surface that this cult, the death cult, has been operating incessantly for thousands of years, sub rosa, undercover, and now it's out in the open. Its crimes cannot be hidden. I just was listening on Revolution Radio to a thing about uh, child trafficking
Mm.
and how the state so-called child protection services,
Mm-hmm.
most notoriously Arizona is one of the
Mm-hmm.
worst, California is another one, they steal children and they're trafficking the children.
Child pedophile services is more like it. CPS.
Yeah, but it's not just that. It's worse than that. It's organ harvesting, adrenochrome uh, development or culture, uh, vampirism of the worst kind, and
Mm.
that has to be acknowledged. It was so hard to believe when Ronald Bernard came out more than 10 years, 12 years ago, confessing that he had been a banker and lured up to the highest echelons of international banking. But
Right.
when
Right.
the time came for him to kill the baby and eat the baby, he refused to do it. And people couldn't believe it. But now it's really out in the
Yeah.
open. And what
I'm
we're
surprised
seeing,
he's still alive. I know the video you're talking about as well.
yeah, yeah,
There's another famous one of a French, I think he was out of Montreal, similarly highly placed within
hmm
the elite type, culture in Montreal, and it's just utterly horrific. And to think how long down through history. See, more or less that was my hypothesis for quite some time. Anyways, this is a kind of intuitive. I don't know if you say it was reductive logic or inductive. I'm not overly clear on. I get confused sometimes on the whole business, but just more as intuitive and sensing that wait a minute, something's not right here. The
yeah,
world, it's there's problems. It's a dangerous place. People are mentally ill, and some of them
And
very,
they're running
very
the show, mentally ill, and they're running the show. This was the
right,
problem.
right, yeah. So
Remember the scandal? One was in Switzerland, the other one was in Brussels,
Belgium.
with Belgium.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, it was in Switzerland. They had a temple, and the Swiss cult was conducting human sacrifice.
The solar temple.
Yeah, the solar temple was one of them, but then there's the other one in Belgium.
Well, and that extended to Quebec, Robert. Sorry to cut you off, as I so often do, but it's for good reasons. Christian, actually, he knows a thing or two about that. Our good friend Christian Laterre, and it extends all the way, at least as far to Montreal and beyond, as what, because those suicides, the group suicides, they occurred simultaneously back some 30 years ago now, at least, and he knows a thing or two about it as well, but he's not talking. He does. He knows. He does. He knows a thing or two.
My point is, there's this evil that is being exposed,
right,
and it's perverting our traditions, and we have to get back to the most basic of our traditions, which is Christmas is a celebration of life. It's a celebration of a birth of a child, and child is a Christ child. And this entity is anti-life and anti-child.
Herod the Great and the slaughter of the innocents.
That's right. That's right. But the slaughter of the innocents has never been greater than the present, with not only postpartum abortion, infanticide, being preached and promoted by the former governor of Virginia. Governor Northam was talking about killing a baby a day or two after it was born, after conferring with the mother and the doctor. And that is just inhuman.
Well,
and it's something we have to reclaim our humanity. We've been desensitized, and me included. I swear, I know it. But I see all of these horrible things, and I have to steel myself. STEEL, make myself like steel, in order not to feel it. But in doing that, you kind of lock away some part of your humanity. I think we have to start cultivating our humanity once again. Professor Cheng-Man Ching, the Grandmaster of Tai Chi Chuan, was asked, "Why do you practice Tai Chi Chuan?" He said, "I'm just trying to become a human being." Because he knew we're not there yet. We are called human, but we are not humane in many ways, and we don't know the fullness, the wonderful fullness of humanity. If you want to learn a little bit about it, I want to recommend a book to everyone about this, about life, good and evil. It's by C.S. Lewis, and it's called Perelandra. And Perelandra is the name of the planet Venus in this novel series. And a man on Earth named Ransom, who turns out to be the Pendragon of the Druid Order, is chosen by cosmic beings to go to Venus to save Venus and the Venusian Adam and Eve from succumbing to the devil's ploy, which is to destroy humanity on every planet. Any planet where humanity germinates, the devil goes there to destroy humanity. So the Orisas, this is the guiding spirits of our solar system, choose this man, Ransom, to go to Venus to protect Eve and Adam from succumbing to the wiles of the devil. And he has to do battle on Venus. And at the end, the plot is that the devil is trying to stop Eve from ever meeting Adam. Because if Eve and Adam don't meet, there's no propagation.
Yeah.
So Ransom goes and he meets Eve first after she's met the devil, who's this Western scientist, Dr. Weston. And he starts to protect her and educate her. And then he defeats the devil, who is incarnate in a human scientist named Dr. Weston. He defeats him, and when he does, eventually Adam comes around. And when Adam appears, it is some of the greatest literature in the English language. I swear. It drove me into an ecstasy to read C.S. Lewis describing the Venusian Adam meeting the Venusian Eve and coming together in harmony, in the fulfillment of what should have happened on Earth if mankind had not fallen. So read the book Paralandra. It's
Paralandroi? Paralandra.
Paralandra.
Okay.
It's one of 3 books. It's a trilogy. The first one is called Out of the Silent Planet. It's a small, short book where he goes to Mars. And when he goes to Mars, the Orisas, the guiding spirits of the universe, teach him about this war in our solar system between the these elven folks, the Elvids and the Maldives. The evil ones, archons and humans basically are at battle throughout the solar system. And then he's sent back to Earth, and that's Out of the Silent Planet. The second book is Paralandra. The third book is called That Hideous Strength.
Right.
And it takes place right after World War II. And C.S. Lewis exposes how Freemasonry is taking over the world for world domination.
Wait a minute. And he did that. He does that directly, or he does it through a symbolic means?
Directly.
Because Venus. I was just going to say, Venus is it figures prominently, from what I understand, within Freemasonic traditions and practices. Their symbology doesn't.
They think it's Lucifer. They think it's Lucifer.
What is it known as? The Star of the East? The
Sisters
of the East. The Eastern Star.
Sisters of the Eastern Star, Daughters of the Rain. They're the women's auxiliary.
Purple. There's something about there's the purple, the lineage and female sect as well. There's just so much.
You know who saves the world in that hideous strength? Merlin. Merlin is resurrected, and he comes and he saves the world from the evils of this new world order, because that's what he was talking about, the new world order.
Mm-hmm. This is fast. This is all news to that hideous strength. Like, you're really dropping some major knowledge on us this tonight. We're going to be running at a different time tomorrow as well. It'll be not quite 36 hours from now because of my work schedule shifting things around. So it'll be a daytime affair for you and people out in the East. And I'll talk more about that before we wrap.
Yeah, send me an email. Mm-hmm. Are you doing Wednesdays? Are you doing the Wednesday night thing?
There'll be a few evening shows, and so if I pass that on to you, because this is 10 days straight, Robert. This is what we shoot for, and the reason we do this is because we just kind of realized this last year, I guess, maybe the year before. It's all about, in the deepest, darkest days, to carry to guard the flame,
exactly,
and the spark that without which, I was talking with my student about this today, and just kind of slowly trying to get her to work it out for herself rather than me telling, because that's the way I like to do things generally, is let the if you will, the student, and it's kind of Socratic method. They've already got it, just they haven't reasoned it through or thought about it, perhaps. But that is so essential to life that we need to guard, to nurture, to protect at all costs, or we are dead. It's like the end. It's like a major, that's a huge tragedy, of course. So, and this is that time of year where there's just so many people. This is why we call it an outreach, charity relief, outreach and awareness campaign. Awareness in the sense of just the number of people are suffering, homelessness, and the charity and relief as well combined. But we can only do so much with our limited resources. We do not solicit any donations whatsoever, as you may recall. Instead what we do is we're looking for those of means to take on the Secret Santa role and selectively sponsor others who are they determined to be, deserving of a little bit of a hand up. And I tell you, it makes a world of difference in people's lives where you have complete strangers just, connecting with them from out of nowhere. It would, which had they not done, it just would have made the Christmas season a little more drab and depressing.
Well, I think everyone should adopt somebody. Everyone should adopt somebody a little bit.
Yeah,
as a
sure.
brotherly love. Our friend, you were on a program with me with Ron Gebran, who's a genius about the planet Mars and science in general. He disappeared for 2 weeks, and I hadn't heard. He called me almost every day, just to chat and check in. I didn't hear from him, and had to contact the sheriff in San Diego.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Well, they found him, and he was lying in his trailer with a broken upper arm and couldn't move. So they took him to the hospital. And, I've been watching, my friend Janan and I have been watching over him for the last 2 with the hospital to make sure he's treated well and that they don't put him out on the street without having a place for him to stay.
Yeah.
I think everyone could do a little of that.
Yeah. Or if if he was in Canada, of course, Robert, it's worse than that. Just put him on the street. It's taking him and putting him under, in line with the whole MAID, murder and instant death program that Castro brought in a number of years ago and has now been running rampant. It is just completely off the charts the way that things are, unfolding there. Unfortunately, it's that's what so many people feared and were concerned would be the case when it first was, was tabled essentially. Yeah. So it's horrific the way that Canada, peace, order, and good government. You in the States, of course, life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, or some would argue private property, what have you. It's fine by me. In fact, highly encouraged. Within reason. I mean, we should do what we can to share the wealth. If it's within our means, definitely. But peace, order, and good government. Just to finish the point, if you don't have good government, which we don't, I would argue we have not for some time in Canada, how can you expect any peace and order? And from that, we see now Carney working on a military initiative that is unprecedented. We have not seen since World War II. It was just a matter of time, of course, for all the, everything to come together, and the way that they have now with the economy, with the apocalypse, of course, the revelation of what these, essentially, for lack of a better word, evildoers have been engaged in for all this time, and the light that is being shone on their evil ways, essentially. So but it's Britain now is they're warning of war of some kind, and it's like, well, with who though is the thing, and but
with Russia.
Well, but here's the thing. It's all a distraction because it's on the civil front. That's where they're trying. Canada's trying under Carney. He wants 300,000 civilian people to basically, like Dad's Army out of the UK. I don't know if you ever heard about that. It was sort of a comedy type affair. Dad's Army out of the UK during the World War II. They had a lot on the home front, like older blokes, gentlemen that were farmers and so forth, that were on the lookout for Nazis, as in the States with the Japanese, of course, keeping a close watch. But I really think that this is all about, it's on a civil front, because of the unrest, because of the poor governance, not just poor, but corrupt and completely out of control, rampant corruption So this is what we're up against right now, folks. Don't let them fool you. Go ahead, Robert.
I was going to say, last night I sat in, Alex Jones interviewed Alexander Dugin, the Russian philosopher, and he's warning us. The Europeans have gone totally mad, and they have had this plan to destroy Russia, to use Russia as the foil to bring Europe together and create a war industry. And they are trying to lure the United States into it. And but Mr. Dugin, Alexander Dugin, whose daughter was assassinated, killed by a car bomb, Ukrainian.
They were targeting him, though, apparently, too, were they not at that time?
Right. They were trying to kill him. They killed his daughter. But the point is, he's warning us that Russia and the American people are not enemies. We have always been friends.
Yeah.
And that the Europeans want to create this division and lure us into a war that they are going to instigate in Russia. He said, as long as we, the American people, do not participate, NATO and Europe are nothing. They pretend to be something that they're not, like an individual power. But he said, without the United States support, NATO is non-entities. So don't let them lure us into a conflict with Russia. And Putin, he also pointed out that Putin has been exposing this satanic pedophile network of New World Orderlies, who are the ruling class of the United Nations and the European Union. And he said they are satanic pedophiles, and he has outlawed Satanism and child trafficking and all of those crimes, which the Western world just looks away and doesn't take them seriously. So Putin is the one who is really liberating the whole world from the delusions and the control of these demonic entities who have taken residence in European leaders who care nothing about their people and care only about their prestige. And they're willing to sacrifice hundreds of thousands of people in pursuit of this war plan, which has no hope. There's no hope of ever defeating Russia. No one has ever done it, and no one ever will. And if you think you're going to do it with nuclear weapons, it's going to be nuclear weapons for everybody. So it'll be complete annihilation. So I recommend that people go to banned.video, B-A-N-N-E-D, banned.video, and listen to Alexander Dugin discussing it with Alex Jones.
All right. Yeah, I might do that right after the show, in fact, which is going to be in just a few minutes here. But before we wrap up our premiere edition of this year's Operation Secret Santa 2025, let me ask you, we have a treasure chest over on DLive that we're going to work on unpacking. So maybe that's what we could do now as we multitask here and ask Robert about Three Eye Atlas and why, what, okay, I'm looking here. Why are we offline? This doesn't make any sense. Now, this does not make any sense. DLive now has shut us down? You got to be kidding.
Man, I have trouble. Look, it's artificial intelligence. It's not human beings anymore doing this. I had a lot of trouble on my show today.
YouTube, Facebook, and now is this DLive? Like, it's just, and Robert, here's the thing. They've done this like at least 3 years in a row now. YouTube and Facebook, right before we launched the Christmas campaign, they shut us down.
Well, they're anti-Christmas, obviously. They are
algorithms.
Anti-Christ.
Yeah.
Christ makes you.
So Three Eye Atlas, and what we got? There's some interest. Whoa! Hey! Whoa!
Still acting weirder than ever. It's still putting out tails in the direction of the sun. I didn't get a chance to go out. It passed December 11th was the day. It was a clear night, but the temperature was like 10 degrees with 12-mile-an-hour winds. I wasn't going to hazard that. But it is still acting very strangely and projecting unusual luminosities. But I wonder, really, has this all been a psyop part of world governments, right? Lock down all the laboratories, lock down all the astronomy, shut down the satellites, talk a lot of hype, but don't show anybody any pictures. It's kind of strange. It's really strange.
You're saying that, the Three-Eye Atlas.
Yeah, the Three-Eye Atlas could have been just a huge psyop.
I don't think so. I'm willing to bet that we're going to have some major action happening here quite shortly. That's my gut feeling. Avi Loeb, I really...
Before I forget, may
Yeah.
I have composed and compiled the most comprehensive UFO report I've ever done. It's called MJ13 UFO Report on Substack, robertmorningstar.substack.com. And it's entitled, So, You Wanted Disclosure, Did You? And it's an essay written by a whistleblower that was sent to me a couple of days ago by Jay Widener. And as I read it, I said, this makes sense. This makes a lot of sense. From everything I know, it's coherent. So I've written, it's practically a book, folks.
So Jay sent this to you?
Jay Widener just sent me some essay.
So are you friends you guys are friends from way back, are you, or?
Oh yeah.
Oh, well, we had him on the show a couple of years ago, and he was actually, it was really something, because we had some problems booking him at first, and he wasn't able to make it. And we thought, guy's gonna flake out on us, because he did say that he would come, and then he finally did, and I was kind of a little bit starstruck. Actually, I got to stop that, with that, because I just can't. He's a brilliant man,
and he's a brilliant man, and. Yeah. I changed his life when I discovered what I did about the JFK assassination, and he read about it. He called me from Colorado and he said, I have to meet you. And I'm coming to New York. I have to sit down with you and you have to tell me everything you know. So he flew from Denver to New York City, came in to stay with me. Then he left. And he had an epiphany because he called me from the airliner as he was taxiing for takeoff at LaGuardia.
Huh.
And he was weeping because he thought it was a sign from heaven that the airliner started to play Abraham Lincoln and Abraham Martin and John.
Oh.
And so he thought that was an epiphany.
Oh.
So we became very, very close friends ever since then. We haven't gotten together in a long time, but out of the blue, he sent me this essay by a guy named Ray. And I said, this makes sense, because he talks about having been in the military, having been part of the military-industrial complex, knowing what he does about UFOs, about aliens, and why the government is keeping it secret. And the thing they fear the most is the politics of the alien culture, the alien civilization. And so he talks about this alien race that made the deal with the United States, and he calls them Erids. And he cites the star Epsilon Eridani, or Eridani Epsilon. The Epsilon star in Eridani is a constellation. And I said, this makes perfect sense, because Carl Sagan was always talking about the possibility of life on two star systems, Tau Ceti and Epsilon Eridani.
Mm-hmm.
Epsilon Eridani, these are the closest stars to our sun, to our Earth. They're only 10.4 light years away. So if they have, they can travel at the speed of light, or even 99% the speed of light, they could be here in 10 years or in 12 years and go back and forth. And if their lifespan is as long as we believe they are, it could just be a ferry ride, for them to just journey 10 years, come to Earth, go back and back. So Epsilon Eridani. So I located the star, and I located some very important information about that star. And I make the case that this guy, the whistleblower, is talking about something that's coherent and has a basis in fact, because that's what Carl Sagan was saying in the 1960s and 70s. Intelligent life could be on other planets, other stars, and it would be very likely, if they're coming to Earth, they would be the closest stars, and that would be Tau Ceti and Epsilon Eridani. And then there's the USOs that the aliens have manufactured factories for UFOs and have placed them at the bottom of the sea. Right. And he said the reason they chose the bottom of the sea floor doesn't care about ice ages, doesn't care about politics. You're just there and invisible to the world. So all of this stuff is coming out. So it's a great article. So you wanted UFO disclosure, did you? So you're getting it from MJ13. It's packed with videos, really important videos, like Missing 411, the UFO connection. 4 hunters abducted by UFOs, 1 in British Columbia, 3 in Wyoming, all of them hunting elk at the time they were taken. 1 was put back, not taken, because they tested him and he had a vasectomy. So they were looking for his joy juice, you know? The other 3 were taken, and all 4 of them were of German descent.
Well, were they ever returned?
Only 1.
Wait a minute, so you're saying 3 just are gone?
3 hunters disappeared, 1 in British Columbia, 2 in Wyoming, a 4th one in Wyoming disappeared, put back. And they told them they couldn't use him because he had a vasectomy.
Yeah. So and this is along the lines of David Paulides missing 411.
Yeah.
I'm kind of freaked out by the whole thing myself. Just being like in nature, you would hope that it would just be you in nature and not these sort of adversarial forces having to contend with. But yeah,
well, it is. It's 2 groups. One is a good group, and the other ones are malevolent. And one of the hunters who disappeared told his wife that he was worried because he was being followed by a UFO, out of the forest.
He was on the phone talking to her at the time, or what?
No, he got away. He said he was spooked. He got to his car and he drove away, and when he got home, he was spooked, and he told his wife, a UFO, a flying saucer, was following me, or a black triangle was following me, and I got scared, and so he went out again, and he disappeared. So I have embedded that video is in the article.
And then he oh my God, and he's never been seen again.
Now they found his car.
Oh wow!
His truck, keys were in the car.
That is so messed up, man.
Yeah, it is. It is. But watch the video.
Well, a lot of this seems, in my mind, is based on the level of my understanding, which is limited, but it's where it takes me to the pact that supposedly Greada, the Treaty of Greada, Eisenhower signed off on, which they've broken repeatedly. They cannot be trusted. Who's the former CIA alien hunter? He's a friend of yours, I think. The guy. What's his name?
Daryl Sims.
That's right, Daryl Sims. And they can't be trusted. They've broken their word repeatedly, and it's in exchange for, I guess, as you have heard, well know, testing. And I'm not sure about the abduction end of things, but genetic manipulation in exchange for technology.
Yeah. Well, I can tell you, I have read the protocols of the Greada Treaty, and I can tell you the first 2 clauses stipulate that neither the United States government nor the aliens will reveal themselves to humanity. They are forbidden from acknowledging each other's existence. The aliens are forbidden from manifesting themselves openly. They are forbidden from having any communication with news companies or newspapers and reporters. They are forbidden from having any contact with UFO researchers. The U.S. government has given them settlement rights and has built bases for them. There's a huge base at Area 51 for the States. There's another base in Dulce for the Greys. The United States government supplies them with their needs. So they have a logistics command to supply the aliens what they need. And some of the things they need are high-tech electronics, because their ships sometimes get damaged in their voyages and they need repairs and replacement parts. So the aliens have given the technology to the United States military industrial complex. And when they need a part, they tell them, they stipulate it, they give them the blueprint or the schematic, and we build the spare parts for their ships. And of course, they have ranging and roaming rights, which is my allusion to ranging, looking around for specimens. They can be elk. These entities, they eat food, you know? And that's one of the things that one of the hunters was told, that this cubicle UFO that he went into, there was a herd of elk inside the craft, paralyzed, just frozen. They have an ability to neutralize the nervous system of an individual. And so that's why I advise people not to get too close to aliens. If you see an alien, keep a distance, because their magnetic field, their electromagnetic field is so strong that it will paralyze your nervous system. You'll stay awake, you'll be aware, but you won't have any muscular movement or coordination. And then they can also make you forget everything you saw.
Okay.
So these are the basics of the Greada Treaty.
That's wild. Yeah, that's just wild. So let's. No, I'm going to set aside the video regarding Saint Nicholas of Smyrna. I thought it was Smyrna, but it's Smyrna.
I thought it was Smyrna. I thought it was Smyrna.
Yeah, maybe they misspelled tonight, and I'll have to fact check this, obviously. But we're going to set that video aside for now because of time constraints here. One quick question I'm going to ask you, though, as a bit of a transition, it's a sequitur to what we've just been covering here over the past few minutes. The Wandering Star, Christmas, and the Wandering Star that the so-called wise men from the East followed for however long it was,
right.
that brought them
the Bethlehem
to over the birthplace of Christ, and it's just profound. Some people, go ahead.
The most beautiful telling of that story, the Magi, is the opening scene in the movie Ben-Hur.
Oh.
And nothing makes it more explicit than that movie. It was telling the whole world the truth about the Christmas star. It opened with following the star, and then the star coming in slowly. And planets wander, but they always go on predicted paths. But this is a star that was wandering across the sky and leading the wise men to that place. And as depicted, it's the most beautiful telling of the Christmas story I've ever seen. And that's the movie Ben-Hur with Charlton Heston and Jack Hawkins, Stephen Boyd, who plays Masala. That's one of my Christmas movies, my regular Christmas movie, Ben-Hur. And we should really hold on to the Christ in Christmas, because along with that Hanukkah osmotically merging with Christmas and spirit and light and joy, it also became very commercial.
Okay, yes, absolutely. But there were pre-existing, as I brought up with my student, the adult student I was working with earlier this morning. There's no solid proof of December 25th being the birth of Christ. What we do know, though, is that there were long-standing, pre-existing pagan rituals and practices that cohabitated with the winter solstice.
Yeah. You know that Jesus revealed his birthday to Pontius Pilate?
Oh, really?
Oh, yes, really.
Didn't know
And
that.
it makes a lot of sense with the snow and the shepherds and all that. He said that he was born on the day that Augustus began the empire.
Really?
When the Civil War was finished, Pompey, Octavius, and Mark Antony, they had this three-way civil war. And Augustus arose and changed his name from Octavius to Augustus. Jesus, in his conversation with Pontius Pilate, he said, I was born on the day that he took the throne. And that was January 16th, 26 BC.
Okay, what? Now, here's a question for you. What?
That works out pretty well, That works out pretty well for a 3 BC, a 3 AD or 4 AD crucifixion, and Jesus being crucified at the age of 33.
Say it again? Yeah, January
16th, 26 BC.
How about that, eh? Wow.
Isn't that something? And this is a letter written by Pontius Pilate to Tiberius Caesar, 3 copies of which have been found, 1 in Latin and 2 in Greek. They're consistent.
How about that? Oh, there's so many, and the ancient letters and scriptures and communications, that stories and so forth that were destroyed intentionally, but that also have survived, and it just leads me, one of the things to reflect upon and wonder is how much is the Vatican holding in those secret archives, which they stretch for over 30 kilometers. Is that right?
Yeah, right.
How wide are they?
Not to mention the skulls, not to mention the alien skulls that have been found in the excavations of back around 2010, they were doing repairs in some walls of the Vatican. I think the Castel Gandolfo. And they pull apart some rocks, and we're going to reset them, remortar them. They found alien skulls there.
You're kidding?
No, I'm not kidding.
Yeah, and that came to light. They revealed that to the world.
Yeah, well, I saw pictures and people were talking about it, but again, the mass media is constrained by the Triada Treaty. As I told you, that neither the United States government nor the alien presence is allowed to reveal itself insidiously to the world public. And they are forbidden having any contact with news agencies, news reporting, newspapers, CNN, none. They're forbidden. And they also have been taken over by the CIA through Operation Mockingbird, and they enforce the UFO embargo. That's what Stephen Bassett calls it, the UFO embargo. Forbidden subject. You could talk about anything else on planet Earth, and only since President Trump took over and revealed the UFO reality in 2017 has the ridicule ceased or been minimized.
The horse laughter. Appeal to horse laughter. You familiar with that fallacy?
Yeah, the little green man thing. Every time
mockery.
Little green man, that was their standard mantra to ridicule people. But I read a paper, a CIA paper, one of my favorites, actually. I've read a lot of CIA papers and MJ-12 papers, but one of them is called UFO Sovereignty Over National Airspace. Dig that. Think about that title. UFO Sovereignty Over National Airspace.
And who wrote this? It came through the Air Force?
CIA document.
Like genuine bona fide CIA.
Bona fide, 1977, 78, Carter administration, white paper in the CIA. And basically, what it was saying is, we're so sorry. We really messed up. We ridiculed the public so much that we're not getting any UFO information anymore, right? Because in the 1950s, the policy was silence the witness, silence the person who's had contact, ridicule them, arrest them, send them to, you ever heard the term, the funny farm?
Oh, yeah. Hell yeah. That's the thing is maybe wonder, think it was how many people have been locked up? How many people are still locked up? Look at John Ford, for crying out loud. Hashtag free John Ford.
The Air Force called it the farm. When people would not cooperate and stop talking about UFOs, they and their whole families were sent to the farm.
Go ahead.
Which is also the name of the CIA enclave down there in Langley.
The company farm.
By 76 and 77 and 78, they realized they were dry. They had no information. Nobody was reporting UFOs. Nobody was willing to talk to them. And they started lamenting, we did our job too well. We ridiculed the public so much. They're not telling us anything and we're dried up.
Well,
so then I believe that's why they look so favorably upon me. When I started to write UFO Digest and the UFO Spotlight, I've told you I was contacted by the U.S. Navy and invited to become part of the U.S. Navy Disclosure Initiative, the first through the United Nations. I was taken out to dinner, and a captain from the U.S. Navy, the Pentagon, came and he said, "Look, Robert, we need your help. We want people to know this. We're up against the Army and the Air Force. The Navy's trying to tell people the truth, and the people in the Pentagon have read your work, and they think you're rational, and they think you can be trusted because you're not crazy, you're not zany. Everything you write is sound and scientific. So we'd like to give you information," and we start to push for this disclosure through the United Nations. And so I went through that, but we were sabotaged because the deep state has ufology. They don't want disclosure. There's a whole group of individuals in UFO research who are very happy keeping the industry alive because they can keep selling books and doing lectures and blaming the government.
Hang on a second, Robert. The deep state has what? I'm sorry, and also remember, I'm getting some feedback, some loopy kind of echo delay feedback from one side of the world to the next. So if you could help to work on addressing that, it'd be great. But the deep state said what?
Has plants. The deep state has plants.
Plants. Right.
Agents provocateurs.
Disinfo,
Debunkers.
Right.
Debunkers.
But Robert, I hate to cut you off. Just to quickly let you know that we are going to get cut off here on Telegram, on Teams. But you can have at it until that happens, I guess. I mean, why not? And then I'll put the show to bed.
Anyway, the point, we were succeeding in getting the information and getting the United Nations mobilized. The United Nations actually held a certain number of meetings. One of them involved religious leaders here in New York that all showed up one day, and they were all there. And then we found out about a secret meeting the United Nations had of the ambassador for outer space affairs. Her name is Mazlan Othman. I met her in 2010. And the odd thing is her name is Mazlan Othman. So take her first initial and her last name and put them together, and what you have is Mothman. Okay?
Yeah. And how about this, Robert? Don't forget, we are living on a plan ET planet.
Yeah.
We're living here on a plan ET.
The plan ET, right? So anyway, what happened is they sabotaged our initiative. The deep state has operatives who go out of their way to target and to debunk serious researchers, serious people, witnesses, people who have scientific backgrounds. So they go out to discredit. So these two guys, two numbnuts, who had Reality Unchecked, I think was their website, they went out of their way to expose the contact. See, he was secretly funneling this information to me and to two other friends of mine here in New York. We were working as a trio to get the information to news sites and get it to the public. So they went out of their way to discredit the source by exposing his identity. And when his identity was exposed, the whole project was put on hold.
Fell apart. Yeah.
No, it didn't. It didn't.
I see.
He was removed. The captain, who was my contact, was removed as the leader or the head of it. But I and another officer kept going. So when we had Source A was discredited by being exposed, and Source B became the lead. And I've done it. I've continued to do it all these years, and we have succeeded. UFOs are real. The disclosure has happened. It happened in December 19th of 2017. And as far as the President of the United States coming out and saying, yeah, there are aliens, well, this President of the United States already did it. He was on Joe Rogan during the interim period when Biden was president and President Trump was running for office. He did an interview with Joe Rogan, and Joe Rogan said to him, well, are there aliens? And he said, yeah. And he pointed up to the sky. He said, yeah, they're up there.
I don't remember that. I'll go back and check. I know that they had an exchange. A couple quick things, though, before we get cut off. I'll have to go back and check, as I'm sure a few of our listeners will, too. But sure. That with the Carter administration, it was interesting the timing of that paper that you mentioned. And with the context of things, the CIA paper, and secondly with Truman, his response when queried regarding the matter, that yes, we're looking into this UFOs, on a pretty routine basis, and happening quite a lot around here. And 52, let's not forget, of course, as you well know, there are a couple of sightings, numerous, very. How could you miss them? Sightings with
they were
pictures.
Right over the White House. We cover that in this article. There's a talk there by General Sanford of the U.S. Air Force, saying, well, these crafts are not of human origin. They're not our government or any other world government, but they pose no threat to the security of the United States. But there was something I was going to say about that. Oh, yes, the horizontal sovereignty, UFO sovereignty over national airspace.
Mm-hmm.
They made the distinction of sovereignty over airspace, and they pointed out that we are sovereign in our airspace up to 18,000 feet and possibly up to 35,000 feet. Because we don't have a lot of planes that can fly higher than that, right? Unless you have really high-tech stuff. But he said the UFO has vertical sovereignty. It can come in and fly horizontally. It can hover. And when we send jets to intercept them, zip, they go vertical and straight into outer space. So that's called vertical sovereignty, which is superior to horizontal sovereignty, because horizontal sovereignty has a finite limit, 18,000 feet, 25,000 feet, 35,000 feet. But vertical sovereignty is outer space to the bottom of the sea.
Mm-hmm.
That's one of the most important parts of this article.
What was Christ? Was Christ a hybrid, perhaps? Or now here's what we've heard that all of our religious leaders, or many of them, that they were, basically they fell into the hybrid category.
Yeah, I believe that. That's why Krishna was blue, right?
I don't know, man.
You ever think about blue Krishna?
No, but I guess that's
Krishna is often depicted as having blue skin.
Right. Yeah. So how about that? Well, listen, let's work on getting you back here at whatever time suits you best. It'll be early morning, a couple days here in a row, and we'll have to flip back to this regular spot that we have here in the evening. Of course, 8 p.m. on the West Coast, 11 in the East. But it'll be an early morning affair, maybe about 9 or 10:30 out on the East Coast, 9 to 10:30 in the morning when we're live streaming here in the evening at 11:30. So, yeah.
Okay. Well, send me a schedule.
Send me a schedule. And an email. And hopefully you'll pass that on to your friends and contacts. We can stand to benefit from all the support we can get here. We're just getting our legs, of course, our annual, campaign sea legs, as it were, Christmas snow legs. You could
Excuse me a moment.
Yeah.
I have to do something in the kitchen. I'll be right back.
Oh, well, Robert's got to do that, and we will excuse him because we've got to head on out of here. Actually, we'll let him know what's going on in just a few moments. But yeah, typically it's about 90 minutes, folks, is what we're looking at here. 90 minutes per show. Encouraging everyone out, get engaged in your community. Let us know what is taking place, obviously. Join us, connect with us. Come on board. telethon-mail.com. That is our email. Unfortunately, Facebook is not looking so good right now. Some pretty wacky algorithms that we're facing and having to contend with. We're at the point now where they want to completely deplatform us, and for what, we have no idea. We posted. We just returned from a few minutes out in the kitchen putting a coffee together, and it was a post in the Operation Secret Santa group, and something just to run in conjunction with and support of what we're doing here again this year. And this is the third year in a row, at least. For about 3 years now, I would, as memory serves, this nonsense has been taking place. YouTube and Facebook, unfortunately, with these sort of antics, shenanigans, and highly peculiar cyber malarkey. So there you go. But do keep in touch, folks. Reach out, get on board, let us know what's taking place where you happen to be based out of. Looking forward to connecting with Alan here, Amosdale 777, MDK, and Roger Hansen. There are 3 live streamers that we know of who are in time here, for the sounds of things, going to be dropping by and lending a bit of a hand. So we're looking forward to that. But we got laundry to do here, and we've got a lot of archived content that's yet, well, we had to work in post-production. It's just the way it goes, like it or not, and get things in decent form, of course, so we can post to places like BitChute, Rumble, and Odyssey. And I can't believe that we also lost our D Live stream. It's utterly incredible. Just Rev, Amosdale, and Chef's Woman, thanks for the support. Digital love over on D Live. We'll be seeing you again, and here shortly, hopefully. And we'll be trying to keep close watch on Just Rev and others here, whether and when they happen to go live with whatever content it is that they're sharing with the world. So let's go check our talking points here. Maybe we can get really bogged down with what we've got to share. It's really unfortunate, the way we've been kneecapped here once again. Just really, really sad, but quite telling at the same time. Very, about as anti-net neutral one could possibly imagine. What can you do? But it's just a total head scratcher. Shake your head and ask, is this really necessary? So this is unlike, just as a reminder here, as we wind things down, any other the conventional type of Secret Santa that people are used to in the West. Forget about that, folks. Get that completely out of your mind. Rather, we selectively sponsor others, people out there in need that we deem and conclude to be worthy and worth supporting. An army, top heavy, overly bureaucratically bloated, so-called charity, where you've got sometimes only as much as a dime going to the people who really, was initially the support was intended for. But we're not talking just money here either. Of course, monetary donations, of which we've earmarked $100 for the people of Gaza, women, children, hopefully, toys, clothes, food, medicine. Utterly horrific, of course. What is the genocide that has unfolded via that particular part of the world? It's unacceptable, unforgivable in many ways, obviously. So, what else are we looking at here as far as talking points are concerned? Well, we'll get around to that. A lot more. Tucker Carlson, we might as well add here just as a full note. Really great to see him. Speaking of Gaza and the orphans, of course, him making the visit to see them. I think he was in Qatar. He flew all the way over there, and which leads us to ask the question: where are all the other supposed do-gooders, high-profile people in social media? We vote with our feet, folks. Our computer mice of rigged, electronic, largely dominated elections. It doesn't get any obvious. Voting with our feet, with our money and our computer mice, that's more, some really critical stuff, obviously, and a more legitimate way of going about doing things, and at least on some level, seeing how the world works. So he's showing some real great leadership there. And this is covered by Jimmy Dore just a couple of days ago. And I think what he's done, sort of a Secret Santa Christian way of engaging in charity, that you do it anonymously, quietly, not make a lot of it. In a position, of course, where we have to be out there, as it were, and working on doing what we can to get people aware of their potential to get up off the sofa, put and the computer games to the side for just a few moments. Take the time to not only think of others, but act on their behalf and in their interest and support of, ultimately, of humanity. So I do suspect that he actually is probably donating behind the scenes to their plight. A face, limbs, and permanent disfigurement, orphaned at a very young age, no family at all. And all for what? So, like I said, we will bring up the St. Nicholas video and a few others here over the next few days, hoping everyone enjoyed their time with us. Let us know if you have any thoughts, questions, outstanding concerns, or issues that may be on your mind. Reach out to us where you can find us. Minds is a good place as well. Over on, I guess it's Element is what it's called, in conjunction with this whole matrix.org platform. You can find the URL available via the show link, end of things. So we've also got a fair deal of what we have to offer as far as an overview, rundown, and description of the show, and more generally campaign in Korean, so that we can hopefully interest and attract and inspire more people here directly via the lower part of the peninsula.